Welcome, dear Aries, both longtime friends of this channel and new travelers just finding their way to Zodiac Talks Tarot. Let me start by saying that in all my years of studying the stars, human behavior, and the strange yet predictable dance between destiny and psychology, one thing has remained constant: Aries never enters a room or a week quietly. You don't slip in unnoticed, you don't hum a gentle tune in the background. You arrive like a brass band at dawn, horns blaring, drums pounding, and maybe even a sparkler in hand just to make sure everyone's awake. This week, from September 15th to 21, 2025, the cosmic spotlight is fixed firmly on you, and not in a subtle way. The Queen of Wands and the Ace of Swords stand together like two celestial ushers pointing you toward the center of the stage. They're not whispering, they're shouting, Aries, it's your time. The Queen of Wands highlights that irresistible charisma you often forget you even have, the kind that makes people lean in closer, laugh louder, and somehow feel warmer just by being in your orbit. Meanwhile, the Ace of Swords promises a flash of clarity, a lightning strike of insight that slices through confusion and leaves you standing taller, surer, and maybe even a little smug because, let's face it, you love being right. Now, before you roll your eyes thinking this is another sermon on managing your legendary temper, relax. This week is not about holding yourself back, it's about celebration. It's about letting your energy fill the space, reminding everyone why life with an Aries is never boring, often hilarious, occasionally chaotic, but always unforgettable. So settle in, laugh with me, and let's see what this fiery week has in store for you. Aries, let's pause for a moment and talk about what it really means when the Queen of Wands and the Ace of Swords show up for you this week. These aren't just cards on a table, they're symbols of two powerful forces within you: your ability to light up a room and your capacity to cut through the haze of confusion with razor-sharp clarity. If that sounds dramatic, well, that's because it is, and Aries, you wouldn't want it any other way. The Queen of Wands is practically your cosmic twin. Imagine someone walking into a room and, without saying a word, the energy shifts. People glance up, their shoulders square, their conversations spark with more energy. That's the Queen, and this week, that's you. You don't ask for attention, you command it by simply being. At a party, you're the one with the story so outrageous that everyone doubles over laughing, and yes, it probably involves you accidentally setting something on fire in college. At work, your confidence in sharing an idea makes others nod before they've even fully heard you out. And at dinner with friends, your presence turns an ordinary evening into something everyone remembers, like a candle making the whole room glow warmer. But here's the nuance: it's not just raw firepower anymore. The Queen of Wands doesn't represent reckless sparks, she represents a fire that has matured. Early in life, Aries energy can be like a bonfire, brilliant, yes, but sometimes too wild to sit near comfortably. Now, you're learning the subtle art of modulation. You know when to speak and when silence carries more weight. You sense when to lead and when to step aside and let others shine. It's a balance that transforms raw charisma into true leadership. Psychology reminds us that real leaders are not those who dominate but those who inspire while making others feel safe. And this week, you embody that truth. You're not just the entertainer in the room, you're the anchor, the one whose presence reassures and uplifts. Now, let's flip to the Ace of Swords. If the Queen is your flame, the Ace is your lightning. This card is the great clarifier, the cosmic aha moment. It doesn't stroll in politely, it barges through the door and flips the light switch on a dark room. Suddenly, what was tangled makes sense. Maybe it's professional clarity, seeing the clean thread that unravels a messy project and makes the path forward obvious. Maybe it's personal clarity, finally realizing why a certain relationship dynamic never sat right, and feeling the relief of no longer second-guessing yourself. What fascinates me, as someone who's spent decades weaving together astrology, psychology, and even Buddhist teachings, is how the Ace of Swords reflects the Eastern idea of clarity. In the West, we often think clarity means more information, more research, more analysis. But Buddhism teaches that clarity comes from subtraction. It's not piling on answers, it's peeling away illusions. The Ace of Swords isn't a library stacked with new books. It's the clean window pane through which you finally see the valley outside. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So here you are, Aries, this week carrying both the flame and the sword. On one hand, you're magnetic, drawing people toward your warmth. On the other, you're sharp, cutting away fog and seeing truth in its simplest, most undeniable form. The combination is rare, powerful, and unmistakably yours. And while life may throw in its share of chaos, you might still say something hilariously blunt that makes someone choke on their drink. That's part of your charm. Because what's wisdom without a little laughter? What's clarity without joy? This week, Aries, embrace it all. Be the queen who lights the room. Be the sword that slices through the fog. And above all, remember that life doesn't reward you for shrinking, it rewards you for shining, laughing, and daring to see things as they truly are. Aries, let's pause and talk about one of your most underestimated weapons, humor. I've spent decades watching how zodiac archetypes play out in human behavior, and if there's one thing that consistently defines Aries, it's that audacious, unfiltered brand of comedy you carry around like a spark in your pocket. You don't rehearse it, you don't sugarcoat it, you just say the thing everyone else is too polite to touch. Sometimes it gets you into hot water, I won't lie. You've probably caused your fair share of awkward silences at dinner tables. But this week, that humor lands exactly where it needs to. Your timing, your delivery, the way your words tumble out with that mix of candor and confidence, it all works. And not just for laughs. Psychology tells us that shared laughter is one of the most powerful social glues. It softens grudges, bridges divides, and builds trust faster than a dozen heartfelt apologies. This week, Aries, your humor isn't just entertaining, it's healing. Picture this, you're at one of those painfully stiff work functions, the kind where everyone is pretending to enjoy soggy appetizers while silently calculating how early they can sneak out. You drop one line, maybe something cheeky about the appetizers tasting like cardboard with ambition, and suddenly even your boss, who hasn't cracked a smile since 2017, laughs too loudly. In that instant, the tension dissolves, the room exhales, and everyone remembers they're human. That's your gift. And don't underestimate how magnetic it is. Forget the clichés of candlelit dinners and love letters scrawled on perfumed paper. This week, your most powerful love spell is making someone laugh until their cheeks ache. Humor, Aries, is not just charm, it's seduction in disguise. Which brings us to love and relationships. The Queen of Wands already gives you that glow, that undeniable magnetism, and the Ace of Swords ensures the depth. Together, they say, this isn't about shallow flirtation. If you're single, don't be surprised when someone finally decides to shoot their shot. That sparkle in your eye, the quick wit in your voice, it's irresistible. And if you're already partnered, expect reminders of why you signed up for this ride in the first place. Maybe it's a thoughtful gesture, maybe it's one of those late-night conversations that bends time, where minutes turn into hours and the two of you feel closer than ever. The magic here is not just attraction, it's connection. Humor becomes the bridge to intimacy, laughter the music that carries you both across, and truth the solid ground on which the relationship stands. In other words, Aries, you're not just falling in love, you're rebuilding it, joke by joke, revelation by revelation. Now, let's talk career. Professionally, the Queen of Wands refuses to let you hide in the corner. Even if you tried to keep your head down, someone would still notice you. Maybe it's a project you're asked to lead, maybe it's a meeting where your suggestion cuts through the noise like a bell ringing clear. This isn't about forced effort. It's about being seen because your presence cannot be ignored. And then the Ace of Swords sharpens the whole scene. If work has felt like a tangled knot, this week brings clarity. That moment where you suddenly see where to cut, how to simplify, how to make sense of the mess. It's the kind of breakthrough that doesn't just make you efficient, it sets the tone for others. Suddenly, people look to you as the torchbearer, the one who not only shines but guides. What fascinates me here, as someone who's studied both social psychology and Buddhist wisdom, is how your role this week transcends self. The Queen of Wands pulls others toward you with warmth, the Ace of Swords points them toward clarity. Put them together and you're not just the star of your own story, you're the catalyst in other people's stories too. That's leadership in its purest form, not domination, but illumination. So yes, Aries, laugh loudly, love deeply, and lead boldly. This week is your reminder that humor isn't a distraction, it's medicine. That charisma isn't ego, it's energy. And that clarity isn't complication, it's the quiet courage to see things as they are. Be the flame, be the sword, but above all be yourself. Because when you are, the rest of us breathe easier, laugh harder, and walk a little more confidently through the fog. Aries, let's step back for a moment and take in the broader canvas, because what you are moving through this week is not just a lucky streak of parties, promotions, and flirty eye contact across the dinner table. No, this is part of a larger arc, a storyline that places you in the company of the chosen ones, those rare souls whose energy doesn't just ripple through a room but, at times, shifts the course of entire generations. Now, before you puff out your chest and start rehearsing your Oscar acceptance speech, let's be clear, being chosen doesn't mean strutting around in a crown like a monarch. It's not about superiority. It's about responsibility. Your fire, Aries, was never meant to stay locked up in your chest. It doesn't belong only to you. It exists to light torches for others. When you laugh, and you will laugh loudly this week, you're not just amusing the crowd, you're healing tensions people didn't even know they carried. When you speak, you're not just filling the air with words, you're sparking imagination in minds that were half asleep. The universe doesn't select people because they're flawless, it selects people who are willing to stumble, get up, and stumble again, until one day they realize the falling was part of the training. That's you, Aries. This week, every conversation, every half-joking comment that turns out to be wiser than expected, every flash of insight that jolts you awake, it's not trivial. It's your training ground for something larger. Now, place all of this in the context of the Year of Triumph 2025. For Aries, this is the year of reclamation. Reclaiming your voice, your authority, your unapologetic right to live on your own terms. Externally, that looks like recognition. Invitations that arrive without you having to beg. Doors that swing open before you. People who once overlooked you suddenly realizing you were the missing piece they needed. But the more profound victories this year are internal. The triumph of learning not just how to set the fire, but how to keep it burning without scorching the village. The Queen of Wands teaches you that wisdom. She knows when to let her flame roar and when to let it soften into a glow. The Ace of Swords teaches you discernment, knowing not just how to cut but when silence is the sharpest response of all. Embody those lessons, and 2025 stops being a year of endless battles. It becomes the victory lap you've long deserved. But let's not float away on clouds of grandeur without grounding ourselves in a little Aries reality. Because you're still you. Which means at least once this week, you're going to do something ridiculous. Maybe you'll give a heartfelt toast at a friend's birthday that somehow turns into a 10-minute stand-up comedy routine. Or maybe you'll wake up at 2 in the morning, declare discipline starts now, and launch into a workout frenzy that makes your neighbors wonder if they should call security. That's not failure, that's your charm. Where others sink into boredom, you inject vitality. You don't just survive, you animate. And yes, your calendar will probably look like a mythological hydra by midweek. You'll say yes to too many invitations, too many opportunities, and then stare at your schedule on Thursday wondering how many versions of yourself you'd need to make it all happen. But here's the secret: movement is your lifeblood. Stillness drains you. Momentum revives you. You don't thrive by staying put, you thrive by saying yes, even if it means laughing at yourself along the way. So here it is, Aries, September 15 through 21, 2025, is not just another week. It's a stage, and you are standing dead center beneath the spotlight. The Queen of Wands infuses you with warmth, magnetism, and presence. The Ace of Swords slices through confusion and gifts you lightning-bolt clarity. Together, they create a version of you that is radiant, wise, funny, and sharp all at once. And this is not fleeting. This is who you are when you're at your best: the firecracker in the room, the healer through laughter, the leader who inspires with courage. One of the chosen ones shaping the year of triumph 2025 step by fiery step. So don't hold back. Say yes to the party. Make the bold joke that others only dared to think. Share the idea that feels too daring, because it just might be the one everyone was waiting for. Let yourself be seen in all your glory. Because this week, Aries, the universe isn't just watching, it's applauding. And it's not a polite clap from the back row. It's a standing ovation. And for you watching this reading, let me say this: wisdom, like laughter, multiplies when it's shared. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it tucked away. Pass it on. Like this video, share it with a friend who might need the reminder, and subscribe to Zodiac Talks Tarot so we can keep walking this strange, wonderful path together. Because life, Aries, is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about showing up with fire, clarity, and joy, and allowing the world to be a little brighter because you dared to be fully yourself.